In addition to that, we continue to look at other ways to, again, as we always do, it's just good practice when we're budgeting, and we have been doing this for months, is looking at efficiencies, possibilities for additional revenue. There will still be reductions to the FY26 budget with or without an override. We're still going to be reducing. So we are positioning ourselves for those different levels of reductions. Mm-hmm. We still have a lot of time between now and town meeting. There are a lot of possibilities that could happen. So one of the possibilities, obviously, is that the override is successful. For folks that have been following, most people at this point know that the select board is putting forward a $14.6 million question as an override ballot. That is going to be happening on April 1st. It is going to be a simple yes or no question. If it passes, the school district will be able to we will be able to provide level services for FY26. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So that would mean that this list, basically what I'm showing up here now, we would be able to bring these things back into the budget with an override. There's the 3.9 that I was talking about that all of these reductions currently add up to. And so that's why that additional 357,000 and a potential 200,000 savings would really, really help us here. Even with an override, these things would still not be coming back. What I'm showing you now are previous year's reductions from FY24 and 25. A lot of folks have already seen this. I know you've seen this. This was also shared at both of our meetings when we had public meetings with the tri-boards. So, we're still looking at a very lean time here. Now, if the override fails, these things on these lists currently, and I know the school committee still has time to debate this because you have to vote on a line appropriated budget prior to town meeting. So, but these are the current proposals on the table for reductions. Now, not to complicate this, but another possibility here is that if the override doesn't pass, we still go to town meeting, and town meeting still needs to appropriate funds. So there are several steps here before the school department gets its final budget for FY26. Other than that, the addition of the 357,000, which I'm extremely grateful for. I'd like to thank the town administrator, the select board, and the finance and advisory board for advocating for that. That's going to help us. It's going to hopefully avoid having to find that amount of money in addition to all of these cuts for FY26.
Superintendent Ljungberg, can you just clarify when you said, because it is something we do every year, and I think probably the better way to explain it is it's not necessarily cuts, it's reallocating our resources. Yep. And can you just explain why we do that exercise every year with cohorts changing? And
yes, so the numbers of students always change. For example, any kind of programmatic, when we look at special education as an example, we have a classroom that's LBLD. When the cohort gets bigger or smaller, that we have to make determinations around the staffing needs for that. Also, staffing levels constantly change year to year depending on what the needs of IEPs might be for that year. We also look at class sizes and what's running. I know that these past few years, Mr. Lombardi and his team and myself, we have looked at class sizes to figure out what's feasible to continue running based on how many students are signed up. That's a little different process at the elementary level because really our decisions are based on overall enrollment in each of the schools, so we don't have as much flexibility there when it comes to additions and reductions from those budgets.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to to delve into that a little bit, because obviously, we all know how the process works, but I know the public a lot of people in the public have been asking, well, why you still have to make cuts if the override passes? Or, what are we going to get? What do we get for the override? And I know the town administrator has said it, and we've said it, it's very fluid. And a lot of times, we will even pass a line item budget before we go to a May town meeting. And as everybody on this committee knows, come September, we're making line item changes and approving line item changes because the demographic has changed, the cohort has changed, the needs of the students have changed.
And there are always things that come up throughout the year too that we have no control over. Facilities is a great example of that. Broken pipes. I think we've had a broken pipe every year for the last 10 years.
$100,000 electrical bill for
$100,000 electric bill that was not anticipated. So these are the kind of things that pop up that are not necessarily predictable. And we have been so lean. There is no secret account out there that can cushion when something happens unexpectedly. We don't have a place to pull those funds from. So we are literally needing to look at every line. Ms. Secor had to basically, when we cut off POs and purchases, we were looking at what was left unspent from those POs. And we're basically using that in order to close gaps where we need to within the FY25 budget.
Thank you.